Okay, so let's start.
Yep.
Thanks for your time.
No worries.
So let's start with the role of a stevedore.
Okay.
Yeah. So what would be your understanding of their role?
Okay. Stevedores are the persons who are, helping secure the cargo on board or put the cargo in proper place or helping. Of course, they are paid workers, helping in loading or unloading of cargoes. So it can be anything from cargo loading to cargo discharging to cargo lashing, cargo securing, any damages, all those kind of things. So my experience, I worked in on container vessels where the stevedores were very, frequently they're coming on board, making sure, giving the signals to the crane upside up. There's a crane operator up in the crane, so they are signaling them, making sure the cargo is going down in the right position, making sure they're communicating with the crane operator, then doing all the cargo lashings or cargo securings. Yeah, so all these things would normally fall under mm, work responsibilities of a stevedore.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are kind of a local company which is appointed by agent or by owners or by someone to go and do these cargo operations on board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And who do they usually report to?
Okay,
Do
they
you know
they
knowledge of
usually
that?
report to their own supervisor,
Mm.
but once they are on board, they have to make sure that they comply with the safety requirements of their company as well as the safety requirements of the vessel. So normally when they come on board, if anything special is going on, chief officer or the senior officer on board or whoever is the duty officer, they will brief them, let them know that this is what is going on and this is the muster station and all. So normally they will report to their own supervisor, not the vessel. But yes, in the end, they will come once everything is completed. They will have to get uh, sign off from the vessel saying that all the cargo has been secured properly up to the satisfaction of the vessel.
Okay. And what would be their daily routine like?
Uh, I guess they are working in shifts, so probably again depending on location to location. But my understanding is they are working on shifts, probably 8 hour shifts or 12 hours shift. I think mostly it is 8 hour shifts, and then routine is like start of the shift. They come on board, they have a plan. Okay, we are going to load so and so cargo hold, so and so positions are to be filled up. Uh, Again, depending on the kind of vessel, container vessel or log carriers or maybe some bulk carrier where they're discharging, where they have to collect the cargo and all. So all those things. But yes, so they will be on board for about 8 hours in a shift, and yeah, and then go back.
I see. And what would be their main priorities like?
Main priority, they will have a work plan, assigned to them from their supervisor, from the company which took the responsibility of carrying out cargo operations on the vessel. So they will have a work plan and they will work as per the plan. So they will know that we are going to working on so and so hatch. We have to load so much cargo. We have to lash all that cargo. So so they'll work as per plan. And when they hand over to next person, of course, they will let the next person know that this is what we have done. This is what is remaining to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think is that, what sort of improvement will they be looking for to simplify their workflow or, things like that?
Uh, Again, I think it is a very diverse thing because different vessels having different requirements. Container vessels, particularly, I worked mostly on container vessels, and the lashing equipment where they're using some sort of lashing equipment to secure all these containers. Those equipments are really very heavy. So all these stevedores, they are good built vessels, good built persons and all. So it is quite heavy and it is quite cumbersome job. And at times they injure themselves, if they drop something on their feet or something. Ports like Singapore and Australian ports and all really very really very focused on safety, so they have
Mm,
proper safety gear. But at the same time, there are a lot of ports, probably Southeast Asia, in India, in Bangladesh, all those places where safety still is not up to the mark. So they may not be having proper safety gear and all. Second thing is working at heights. Again, with container vessels, sometimes they have to climb on crane, go up on a container stack, which is 7 or 8 stack high, which is quite high. And
very.
then, oh yeah, so I would say main thing is safety improvement.
Mm,
Uh, but I cannot comment on their what is actual. Do they get any breaks, or what is the actual
sure.
um, benefits or things which they get while they are working with that particular company.
Mm-hmm.
But with regards to vessel, of course, safety wise, I think there can be improvements, and maybe some specialized equipment which can help them reduce the physical work.
Right, right. And what would be their common challenges at work?
Common challenges again, probably risky working conditions.
Mm,
There's movement always. Cargo is going on the vessel, or cargo is coming off the vessel, working under the moving machinery. So cranes are working, machinery is moving. It's a big operation, and working under the moving machinery. Uh, Long work hours, probably working even when it is raining and weather conditions. So those sort of things probably will be the challenges which they face every day.
mm-hmm. And how
Mm.
do they overcome them?
Uh, I think probably they are roasted, like probably they are. Um, I mean, as long as it is not impacting the cargo, for example, container ships, all the cargo is inside the containers. So weather and all, they don't get impacted. The containers don't get impacted. But for open ships, bulk carriers, they have to shut down the hatch covers and all. So um, I'm not very sure about bulk carriers, but container vessels, they used to take or rotate persons, to overcome this kind of things. So probably if it is really heavy work, probably three persons are working already for 1 hour, then somebody will come and replace them, that kind of thing.
Mm,
Um, yes, not really sure. Plus, of course, small breaks and all.
okay. And
Yeah.
what would be their safety point of view?
Uh, Again, depends on company to company. I think it's
Mm,
a company culture, it's the work culture. It's not, of course, it depends on individual also. So I have seen people working very unsafely,
mm,
just climbing with the normal tongs and all, and no safety harness, nothing. They're climbing on containers and all. Uh, but again, something to do with the company. I believe if company, the port, the vessel itself has implemented good safety measures, then
mm.
they are forced to do it. But some people by themselves, they're taking care of their
So,
personal safety as well as safety of others. So I guess it's a very generic question because depends on company to company.
mm,
Mm.
how will they manage when a safety issue arise?
Or they simply report it to their supervisor. And of
Okay.
course, if supervisor is not around, they will report to someone on the vessel who is responsible for cargo operations at that time, normally duty officer. So they'll
Oh,
report it to him, and if it is serious safety concern or serious issue, then of course vessel will escalate it to even higher level.
um, what are the current tools that they will be using right now? For example, any digital tools that they are currently using?
Okay, I'm not too sure. I was sailing quite some time back, like 5 years ago. I've left sailing now 5 years, since
Yeah,
5 years.
okay.
But I was in terminals, and also yes, they do use digital tablets and all for the cargo plans and all, and they can be even used on your mobiles or your normal iPads and all. But when I was sailing, it was mostly on a paper thing.
I
And with
see.
regard to other tools, safety harnesses, I'm not covering PP. PP is standard, that is always there. But safety harnesses, some of the equipment which they were using for tightening the containers, lashings and all. So they were heavy equipment, kind of rods and all, metallic rods, which were used to tighten the container lashings, plus some of the hooks which were used to open container shoes. They called stacking cones, so or twist locks. So yeah, so all those tools which are required to operate those kind of machineries or lashing materials on board.
Mm. And most of the stevedores tech savvy, or it depends?
Um, it depends. Yes, it depends. Not really. Yeah.
Okay. And any clue if they are currently using any right ship products?
No, I I have never seen one.
Mm.
Um, yeah, no,
Okay. And
no, never seen.
what do you think will entice them to use the right ship platform?
Probably something which works around their safety, about their working systems for
Mm.
their betterment and all. Yeah, if we
And
offer a product which can, enhance their working environment, their safety.
mhm. And
Yeah.
will they pay for the right ship for all this functionality? I mean, who will be the one paying uh for this?
Uh, okay. Again, stevedores in Australia, they are highly paid.
Mm.
Okay. So, and the unions are very strong in Australia.
Mm.
The stevedore unions, the workers unions, the port worker unions are very strong. So, so again, it depends. If the same stevedore working in India or same stevedore working in Australia, it's very different.
Mm.
Uh, I don't think so. A stevedore in India will pay it from his own pocket. Maybe a company working for him or some labor union and all, if they agree to pay for him or cover him, then probably he'll be happy to use those products, but not by himself.
Mm. I see.
Yeah, I think it's all different countries' level of standard of living and wages and all. So yeah.
Mm. And what sort of feature would they need for in terms of like a digital support?
Mm, I am not too sure, but probably something where they can raise their concerns, they can, improve their safety, have
Mm.
some rostered system. Uh, no, but no, I have no idea about this.
Okay,
what
no worries.
what
Yeah.
kind of product we can develop, which suits them.
Mm. Okay. So now let's move on to like the role of a marine pilot.
Mhm.
Mm. Uh, what would be your understanding of their role? Like,
Marine pilots are specialized mariners, ex-mariners probably, who are, very well conversant with the local conditions, with the local harbor, the geographical conditions, the other factors in the port, like the wind, like the current in the area which is covering the port. So they know in which part of the harbor, in which part outside, just near the port, there are dangerous waters. They know the communication requirements with the port authorities, with the vessel traffic service officers and all. So they are skilled persons who navigate the vessel from outside the harbor to inside the harbor.
mm,
They have all the resources available with regards to the tugs and boats and additional manpower and all that. So the main role is to bring in the vessel safely or to take out the vessel safely. So vessel comes and the ship's captain, they bring the vessel till outside the port limit, and then from there the marine pilot who is expert of that area, he will have command and he will take the vessel inside, of course with the assistance of tugs and with communication with the port authorities and all.
mm,
So he's an ex-mariner only. He's an ex-seafarer who has sailed lot of numbers of years and then got good experience, and then he came to this particular port where he learned everything about that port.
I see.
Yeah.
And who do they report to?
Oh, probably they also have some manager above them. So
Mm,
probably few of the pilots, they must be having one senior manager or senior pilot
mhm.
amongst them.
And what would be their daily routine like?
Again, they also work in shifts.
Mm.
So because vessel shipping is a 24-hour job, so they can be working during daytime, or maybe this week they are working daytime, next week they are working nighttime, or probably today they did some night shift and then tomorrow full day they will take rest. And you know, so with all those, it can be erratic. It can be sometimes day, sometimes night. Probably not more than 8 hours shift, because it is a very, very, very responsible job.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mm. And what would be their main priorities?
Main priorities will be to bring in the vessel safely.
Mm.
Vessel safety, that's it.
Vessel safety.
Always to navigate the vessel safely inside the port and outside the port.
Right. And what sort of improvement will they be looking for? For their workflow?
Uh, Improvement,
Like in today's context, you think?
in today's context, again, you see ports like Australia and all, they are very strict. They are the ones who are actually complaining to authorities that this vessel was not safe, or they use pilot ladders to go on board. So pilot ladders are wooden ladders made with rope and wood, so
Mm.
wooden steps. So at times, if the ladder is not in good condition, or at times the ladder is not rigged properly, it can impact their safety while they are trying to board the vessel with the pilot ladder.
Mm.
So that can be one thing.
Yeah.
Second thing can be around their working hours. I'm not sure, definitely not in Australia, but even Singapore is good with regards to that. But some ports, maybe they have back-to-back jobs,
Mm.
which is not a safe thing because of fatigue and all,
Yeah.
and it risks the entire vessel and the persons on the vessel. So those are the areas of improvement can be there. What else? I think as such it is such a senior position and such a skilled position. They are normally very well looked after.
Mm.
So yeah, normally.
Right. And what would be their common challenges?
Common challenges, what I understand, is communication with different kind of vessels, with different kind of persons on vessels. I mean, with regards to language barrier.
Mm.
So vessels are going all over the world, and let's say, for example, a person in Australia or in Singapore, when he's going on a vessel and that vessel crew, the English is not good, they are from a non-English speaking background,
Mm.
so that communication can be a big challenge. Um, Again, the first point when I covered the pilot ladders, the safety itself is can be a challenge when they're going on board, or when they're trying to make them understand anything. But so that can be a challenge. Poor vessel maintenance can be a challenge because the vessel machinery is not working as expected, or all of a sudden there is a failure of one of the machineries on vessel, on which the pilot was relying to navigate safely. So all those things can be challenges for him.
And how do they overcome these challenges?
Okay, normally for communication, of course, it is difficult.
Yeah.
They have to speak slowly, one by word, or nowadays we also use Google Translate trends and all
Oh,
on our
okay.
phones and all. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's okay. But for machinery and for failures of equipment and for safety, of course, they can raise. In Australia, I've seen they normally raise complaints against the vessel, and then those vessel managers, they have to do a thorough investigation on what actually happened there. And after they do inspection investigation, they have to make sure that they have implemented some measures through which that kind of incident will not be repeated. So yes, so they can report it to the port authorities. They can report it to uh, their managers, the pilot, the senior pilots, and all, who can further take up the matter with the vessel operators.
Mm-hmm. And would be their safety point of view?
Safety point of view, normally quite high. I believe they are very safety conscious. That is their job, to you know move the vessel safely from one place to another. So normally very high, normally very high safety standards.
How do they manage a safety issue?
Whatever is in their control, because they have already sailed, they were ex-seafarers. If they know something, they can give suggestion to, something for something which is impacting that safety issue or safety concern at that particular time. But of course, they give their feedback reports. Once they have finished any job, they go and give their feedback reports, and they also record everything, like this particular vessel is coming to the port every month, and from last 3 calls they are having issues. So they maintain a proper record of all those things. Yeah.
Who would they report the safety issue to?
They can report safety issue to their own company, to their own safety manager, the manager or whoever their boss is. Plus, they can also raise it to the terminal. Like in Australia, within a port, you can have different terminals. Like in Port Hedland, there were 3 different terminals. One was FMG terminal, BHP terminal, Roy Hill terminal, PPA terminal, all those terminals, 4 terminals. So they can report to the terminal, they can report to their own manager, plus they can also report to the overall in charge of the port, which is Harbour Master. So there's a marine team in Port Authority, they can report it to them as well.
I see.
Yeah.
What are the tools that they use to make all this report? Do they
It's
use like a
just
digital tool, or
yes,
is
yes.
really a
It's all digital. It's all digital. Nowadays, it's all digital. They just have to simply, they have specific formats: name of the vessel, date, who was the pilot, and then what was the issue. It was around communication barrier or some personal issue with the crew, or it was machinery related issue, or was it issue on the port side? Probably, the tug was not working or something was not working, all those kind of issues. So they use normally all these digital platforms for this.
I see. In this instance, can I say that they are tech savvy?
Yes, normally they are. Again, because very high responsibility job, good paying jobs. So normally most of them, they can afford all these things, and it is more safe for them to be, using the technology than relying on paper thing and all.
Any idea if they are using any rideship products?
I think some of the pilots in Australia, I'm not sure elsewhere, and not all the ports in Australia, but some of the ports in Australia, if they encounter any issues with the vessel with regards to safety, with regards to crew performance, or with regards to, from the time they boarded the vessel till the vessel was inside the port, whatever issues they face with regards to vessel or with regards to crew, some of these pilots, they use RightShip product called Feedback Report. But I believe they have been further delegated this responsibility by the terminal, by Rio Tinto terminal in Dampier. I see a lot of time these pilots, they are raising these issues through RightShip platform.
I
Yeah.
see.
But I've seen that only in that particular port, nowhere else.
And if they are not users of rideship, what do you think will entice them to come on board?
I think to come on board, they can maintain a database themselves, for all the vessels which they have boarded, and all the vessels which they have worked on. So they can have their own database with, like, using our platform. They already, first of all, our platform can provide them all the basic particulars of the vessel, which we have for all the vessels.
Yeah.
Plus we have the vessel performance and all.
Yes.
So they can refer to the vessel performance. Plus, if they have any issues, they can log it themselves without reporting. Of course, they need to report, but they don't need to depend on others to log that issue. So as I said, I've seen only in one port that they are reporting it themselves, but probably other ports, we can offer them this kind of thing. I'm not too sure. I'm thinking that way. Maybe I'm wrong.
Nice. Okay. And who will be like the paymaster for all this kind of digital support?
Again, their company. Yeah, most of the pilots, they work under in some company, like in Singapore, it's Port of Singapore Authority, PSA. Yeah. So And in Australia, they are private companies. They are operating these pirates. They are working for those companies. So again, I think personally nobody will do that. Only if the company pays for that kind of thing, they will be happy to do it.
Yeah.
That is my belief. Whatever I say today can be everything different. I'm just saying what I think.
Yeah, sure, please
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
Because it's our intent is to kind of get in touch with the different parties like yourself who
yeah.
has a rich knowledge of like port operation activity and basically on probably like on these 6 rows and anything that you could mention is totally helpful to us. Yeah. Okay, let's
Okay.
continue. What sort
Yeah,
of
yeah.
feature do you think they'll be looking for? Besides the probably like the feedback uh, report.
Besides the feedback report, I think probably just the vessels database. They can have
Mm,
complete. They can look at the vessels. If they have been assigned a particular job, they can see all those features, and particularly around vessels maneuvering characteristics and all, because that is their main job, to navigate the vessel. So
mm,
any maneuvering criteria, um, basically navigational kind of characteristics of the vessel, they should be interested in with regards to their job.
Okay, that's a very good point. All right. Now probably we move on to the role of birth planner.
Birth planner, okay.
Birth planner. What would be your understanding of their role like?
Again, very diverse with regards to what kind of vessel we are talking about.
Mm,
I used to be covering for some birth planner while I was in Port Hedland.
mm,
So, but there we were working only around bulk carriers.
mm,
So it is very different for bulk carriers, and it is entirely different for container vessels. My
mm-hmm.
experience personally around birth planners was with bulk carriers only.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Please tell me more.
can you please repeat your question again? What
Oh,
exactly was the
okay.
question?
So basically, I would like to understand, what is the role of a birth
All right.
planner? Mm,
Okay. 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 So now their main role is to plan the vessels which can. It is a very how should I say? Okay, it's a very diverse role. They
mm,
have to start from. They have to liaise with so many different departments. Let's say the port where I was working, we were
yeah.
loading iron ore. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
then there are different grades of iron ore.
Mm.
This iron ore is coming from mines, and the trains are bringing those iron ore to the port. Okay,
Oh, I see.
so they have to liaise with, first of all, the mining department to see that when is the cargo going to be available.
Mm,
Once the cargo is available, then they need to liaise with commercial department, which is making all these contracts with the vessel owners to see which vessels are suitable for that kind of cargo. Let's say we have 100,000 tons of iron ore to be exported. So obviously we want to use a similar kind of vessel where we can fit this kind of cargo, not a very small one, not a very big one. So they have to liaise with commercial department. Okay, then they have to liaise with port authority, because ports like Port Hedland,
mm,
there are lots of limitations because it is a tidal port. So and there are a lot of different operators, and there is a fixed slot. Fixed slot means whenever there is high tide, the water level is up. The priority is all the vessels which have already been loaded to go out. When all those vessels go out, then everybody is fighting for the slot for the new vessels to come in so they can start loading.
mm,
So they have to liaise with the port authority, they have to liaise with the port schedulers, they have to liaise with their own internal mining departments, their own commercial departments. Probably sometimes they have to liaise with the tugs and service providers like draft surveyors and surveying companies. So all those different parties they have to liaise. to make a schedule for vessel to come inside, load, and go out.
Mm,
So right from vessel coming in till going out, all those timings, all everything is their duty. To plan, not to load, but to plan.
I see. And who do they report to?
Oh, they will have some marine manager or some scheduling manager. Uh, you know, there'll be normally there will be 4 or 5 persons. So probably where I was working, there were 2 persons back to back doing 12 hours shift.
Mm,
So and then they report to a marine manager, and then there are 2 people working at one time, and then uh, 2 other people who are off, and these people they work for 1 week continuously because they are doing 12 hours shift, and one day shift and one night shift. And once after 7 days shift they finish, then the next batch of schedulers will come in.
mm,
So they work like 1 week on, 1 week off, 1 week on, 1 week off with 12 hours shift.
I see. What would be their daily routine like?
Daily routine will be once they're in office, they will see how much cargo availability is there. We have cargo available for and like the port where I was working, we were working around 5 berths, so there were
Mm,
5 ships which we can bring in, and then at one time we can load only three because there were only 3 cranes or the loaders which can be used. So
mm,
uh, yeah, so they will start working on the vessels which have completed already. Now 3 vessels have completed, 3 vessels are going to go out. So now they wanted to bring in next 3 vessels. So which 3 vessels they want to bring in, what kind of cargo they are looking at, what will be the draft for sailing, how much cargo we can load. And then they start talking to the port authority, they start talking to um, a mining department that we are planning these vessels. Do we have cargo? Do we have right grade available or not? So I think the entire day goes in this. So probably they'll issue one schedule in the morning that we are planning to bring this vessel, let's say A, B, and C vessel. But then while vessel A was coming in, and then they send it to all the parties, which further communicate with these vessels that okay, you have been scheduled to come around this time, but while the vessel was coming in, they had some issue, and that vessel cannot come in.
mm,
So then all of a sudden everything gets cancelled, and then you have to start working immediately on the next one, which next vessel we can bring in.
mm.
So the shed overall in the routine day is very busy for them. It can
Right.
be, yeah, very chaotic day.
Mm. And what would be their main priorities?
Our main priorities will be not to have anything sitting idle. With regards to like as soon as we finish one vessel, we should be able to bring in next vessel immediately without losing any time. So to plan in such a way that there is no loss of production with regards to like there is no lost time. We are not
Mm,
just sitting idly. There is no vessel. We are not doing anything. So
mm,
main priority will be to reduce those gaps where there is nothing being loaded on the vessel or nothing being discharged. So planning should be in such a way that at all times we are being productive. At all times we are doing loading and vessels are coming, going, coming, going, coming, going. That's it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. And what sort of improvement you think they will be looking for to improve their workflow and things like that?
Uh, Yeah, I think normally my experience with this particular role was that
Yeah.
they have their own they have their own in-house softwares and all which they use for planning.
Mm,
So all the parties, all different parties like the mining department and the commercial department, they are putting in their feedback in that software. So they are putting the cargo availability, they are putting what kind of contract we are looking at, what kind of drafts we are looking at, what
mm,
is the grade we are looking at, and they have normal in-house softwares. So they're using normally those softwares.
mm.
So I don't think so. Because those people they can make those softwares specifically to their requirement. So improvements, I believe, nah, not too sure. Again, depending on working environment, work culture, and all.
Mm,
This place where I was working, it was 12 hours shift. Some people are happy with that. Some people are not happy with that. But with regards to work, I believe all these softwares are pretty, pretty good. Um, not I really can't answer. Like, I don't know what improvements you can bring in there.
Sure, no issue. And what sort of challenges, common challenges, um, you think that
Lots
they
of
would face?
lots of challenges.
Mm,
You see, they fixed something. They fixed a vessel to come inside, and last moment that vessel had a breakdown.
mm,
So now they need to start planning from scratch for the next vessel. That is first thing. Second thing is you are fighting amongst different terminals for a particular slot. So, like your ship, your berth is empty. Like the one ship has already sailed out, and you want to bring in next ship. But at the same time, other terminal also want to bring one ship, and the third terminal also want to bring one ship.
mm,
And the port authority gives you a slot of 11 o'clock. But at the same time, you see that other terminal is getting a slot of 9 o'clock, so he's getting 2 hours earlier. Then you're fighting for that slot with the port authority. So there are lots of challenges. Plus, there are challenges around getting the desired draft, getting the desired cargo output, desired productivity output. So sometimes it is met, sometimes not met. Then you have to explain why it is not met. So there can be lots of challenges with that rule.
mm. And how do the birth planner overcome these challenges?
I think it is normally very meticulous planning. Uh, and anywhere where you feel you're not getting the desired support from other parties, then you have to discuss with your manager. So the senior people, senior management can escalate it to the right person and get the things done. Uh, yeah, that is how they overcome these challenges. I think nothing else. They need to involve everyone because there are lots of people to be worked with, lots of different departments. Because planning is not only it's not as simple as just bringing the ship. You have to
Mm,
make sure that cargo is ready, people are ready. Port authority is happy to bring in those ships at that time. We have our required capabilities. If any maintenance is going on, let's say in the terminal, will that maintenance impact uh, our productivity with regards to that ship? So all those challenges are there, and only ways to discuss with all the departments, have meetings and all. So normally they plan ahead. Sometimes we're planning 3 4 days ahead, and then have regular meetings, one meeting in the morning, one meeting in the afternoon, to see how it works. And then the person who takes over in the evening, he will come and review everything which was done during the daytime again to make sure nothing has been missed or there are no gaps in there.
And what would be their safety point of view?
Oh, they are normally working in offices.
Mm,
Oh, so are you talking about personal safety or safety point of view with regards to, of course, vessel is not in their hands. They are just the planners. They are basically doing kind of paperwork or admin job.
mm.
So
I,
safety point of view is they don't want to, overlap or miss out on anything which can be pointed out at them. So
mm,
yeah, nothing very specific. Safety point of view, they don't have much role with safety point of. They are just planning everything.
mm,
Uh, Only thing which can go is that they missed out something which can, you know, loss. It can be loss of cargo or loss of. I mean, they cannot load enough cargo because they planned the vessel at wrong time when the tides were low.
mm.
But it doesn't really impact safety, personal safety,
I see.
or the safety
Um,
of vessel.
mm. um, so when a safety issue arise, how would they manage them if they get to know there's a safety issue on board or something happened at the berth?
Yeah, again, so it is not their role to
Not
manage
their
it.
role.
They will simply report it to someone who needs to manage it.
And who would they report to then?
Normally, they are marine manager only. So
Manager.
there is a
Okay.
marine manager or marine superintendent. So they will report it to him, and then he will liaise with different parties. Let's say there is a safety issue. At times there are safety issues, and then he will have to coordinate with different parties, like a vessel with a broken mooring line, or a vessel which is drifting away from berth, a vessel which has fire on board, or somebody has injured himself. So there can be different safety issues, but they berth planners, they directly. They don't get involved with those issues.
Mm,
If it is reported to them, they simply escalate it.
I see.
Yeah.
Hmm. And what sort of tools um, are they using?
Or normally in-house softwares.
In-house softwares. Mm,
Normally, yes, that is what I've always seen. Plus, they are getting a lot of information from different websites, different resources like vessel particulars. Like they are liaising with port authority, so they're looking at different tidal levels. Tidal levels are required to check how much cargo we can load. Uh, so we cannot be in a position where we have loaded vessel very deep, but now there is not enough water, there is not enough tide for vessel to sail out. So they are using all that. They're using weather very frequently. They're using weather websites, weather forecasting websites to see what kind of weather we are looking at. Strong winds and strong swells can impact vessel operations, so they need to be very aware of all those weather conditions.
mm,
Yeah, but mostly it is in-house softwares, which the tools are, I think, mostly in-house, plus some external websites. So nothing, no physical tools, just the information from all different resources.
I see. Any idea if they, any of these ports and like birth planner are using right ship products?
Uh, yes, so we were using, I think, all these terminals, particularly in Australia and somewhere some terminals outside Australia also, they are using these RightShip products to, again, they are using this to report about vessel issues, the vessel safety issues which they encountered while at berth. So let's say they brought in a vessel at berth, vessels berth safely, they started loading cargo, but while loading, the vessel says, no, I cannot load at so and so speed. I have so and so issue, or I have to stop cargo, or they break some mooring line while they were at the berth. So all those issues are normally reported by berth planners or the berth schedulers only. So I think they are frequently in Australia. They are very frequently using our platform to raise all these issues, which we get through feedback reports.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If they are not currently on board with RightShip, what do you think would entice them to, start using RightShip products?
Same thing. All the terminals which are not using this, we can encourage them to. For now, I have seen mostly it's Australian terminals, uh, but there are bulk terminals or even container terminals all around the world. So we can encourage them to use our product so they can report any issues. So
Mhm.
our existing FBR product is very good for all the terminals. They can
Mm,
report any issue with regards to vessels. Plus, then RightShip will take action with vessel operators to see what happened, and then it goes in the database. So right now, if a particular terminal in Port Hedland, they wanted to see how is the vessel performance, they simply go on our platform and see this vessel called 10 times to their terminal, out of which 7 times they had no issues, but 3 times they had this issue. Out of those
mm,
3 times, these were the actions taken. So all those sort of things, I think we can uh, sell that product even to other terminals outside Australia as well. Presently, I see the market is in Australia only,
mm.
and some limited market in Brazil and other terminals.
I see. Um, and who do you think would be like the paymaster for this?
Again, the mining companies, the terminals itself, who are employing these berth planners.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not. We are not even bothered. Once we finish our job, we go home. We don't even care. So nobody wants to spend money from their pocket.
Yeah, of
Yeah, then
course.
it's from the terminals themselves.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
can I save that from what I gather, right? They would be tech savvy. Would they? Would you
Normally,
say that?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm.
Normally, yes.
Okay. And what's this? Yeah. What other features would they be looking out for? I mean, besides um,
Uh, okay. I can think of course, I'm relating it to myself when I was there.
yeah,
So
sure.
at
So
times
in
we
your
had to,
context.
yeah. So at times we had to physically go and at times we had to physically go and check the vessel's plan to make sure that that particular vessel with regards to its physical features with the cranes and their length and their breadth and all. Uh, can they go to a particular berth? Can they go to a particular wharf where they're planning to bring that vessel? At
mm,
times, we had brought in the wrong vessel at the wrong berth, and then we had to call pilots and tugs and everybody to shift that vessel to a different berth, which is lots of money, probably a couple of thousands of dollars just
mm,
to make that shift. So, so maybe if they tell us their requirements, we want so and so vessel without any cranes or with any cranes or that dimensions, whatever physical features. So we
mm,
can look into that for them, because it's a very focused job. You have to make sure that you are not making any mistake because it is costing a lot of money if you bring in a wrong vessel at the wrong berth.
mm,
So a vessel which is big enough, but the that particular berth is having a small crane, it cannot even reach that particular hold, then they cannot load. So they have to do shifting and all that. So all those things, maybe we can develop something whereby they tell us their requirements. We want only this size vessel without cranes or with cranes, or what is the dimension, or so we can have something around that.
mm. Okay, this is good. Right. So let's move on to the last three roles. Um, okay, that would be like the terminal manager.
Mhm.
What would you think their role is like as a terminal manager?
I think it's a big role. He's kind of overall in charge of the terminal. He's not only looking after the ships,
Mm,
he's looking after the cargo, he's looking after the machineries at the terminal, all the people at the terminal who are working under that operations side. So it can be everything from right from maintenance, right from
mm,
cargo, right from ships, mooring, everything.
mm.
Probably I
And
would say berth planner role plus stevedore role plus maybe few others added. He's overall in charge of that.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it. And do they report to any parties?
Yes, yes. Terminal managers probably it may not be in the same terminal because they themselves are terminal managers, but they can be again something like where I was there. There was a general manager overall. He's looking after all the operations because there are trains coming in, bringing in the product from mines, and then from train this product is going to different machineries and then going to a conveyor belt and going to a particular yard, and then from yard it goes again on conveyor belt, goes to the loader, the crane, and from crane it goes to the vessel.
Mm,
So GM operations was looking after everything. Under GM operations, there were terminal manager who is only looking after port side of the operations. Then there is rail manager who is looking after railway side of the operations. Then there is different departments. So yes, terminal manager can have someone above him or not above him. Depends again how the company structure is.
mm. And as a terminal manager, what do you think their daily routine is like?
Uh, Again, I think they are mainly the problem solvers or working on the new projects, and so any problems reported to them, they have to liaise with different parties, make sure they are supervising what their own team is doing, anything which team is not doing correctly, how to address that, something needs to be improved and all. So he's looking after different aspects, vessels berthing safely or not berthing safely, what went wrong, do that investigation. So everything. He also needs to be talking to port authorities or the pilots or the tugs or the berth planners or the cargo managers to see what went wrong,
Mm.
all those things. Yeah.
And as a terminal manager, what would be their main priorities?
Terminal manager main priority will be safety, of course.
Mm,
So their main priority will be that vessel which comes in safely. He loads now. Pilot was responsible for bringing in the vessel safely and taking the
mm,
vessel out safely. But once the vessel has come into the terminal, now it is terminal manager's responsibility that vessel stays there safely, loads
mm.
safely, and finishes safely,
Depart safely.
departs safely.
Right.
Yeah. So as
Uh,
long as the vessel is in that terminal, it is his responsibility to make sure it is safe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what sort of improvement will they be looking out for?
I think it is again, it can be a very diverse thing
Mm,
depending on terminal to terminal. What what are their weak points at different terminals? Like in Port Hedland, there was a weak point around design of the berth itself, design of the moorings. So the
mm,
vessels, two vessels, when they are loading, let's say there's a vessel here and there's a vessel here. When they're passing, okay, when there's a vessel here and there's a vessel here, when they're
yeah.
passing their lines, the lines were touching and crossing each other. So that is the design. So they were always concerned about those kind of things, that lines should not part, and so they were very focused on mooring safety and all. But again, the challenges can be, I think it can be anything.
Mm,
It it can be very diverse. Anything which is not their fault, probably a vessel's fault, while the vessel was at the terminal. Again, it becomes their responsibility. Like what resources you provided them, what information you provided them to keep them safe here. Did you give them all the information? Did you give them all the contact numbers?
mm,
Did you tell them we'll be following this procedure to load the vessel? All those things.
mhm. What would be their common challenges?
Keeping the vessels safe,
Mm,
liaising with different parties, because the berth planners will be reporting to terminal manager or marine managers. Uh, so resolving any issues, talking to port authorities, talking to tugs, talking to pilots, all those kind of stuff. Because now the responsibilities is going up, so he's looking a very vast area of responsibility.
and how do the terminal manager overcome these challenges?
Uh, Normally they have meetings with all these different parties,
Mm,
weekly or fortnightly meetings, where they are supposed to discuss what challenges they are facing, because sometimes it is not entirely in your control, that you have to have some some cooperation or input from other parties, which, because lots of people are involved, pilots are involved, tugs are involved, small boat companies are involved, port authorities involved.
mm,
So I've seen these people, they go to these regular meetings and then bring up the challenges and come to a common point, a common ground, how to solve these issues.
mm,
Very rarely they have to implement some new measures, new procedures, or new machinery, or physical items to be changed at the terminal to improve safety or to overcome those challenges.
mm. What would be their safety point of view?
Again, very big responsible job. So
Mm,
normally they are very safety conscious. uh, Safety is always running back of the mind. So yeah, and as I said, they have regular meetings probably once a day. The first thing they come in the morning, they will check if any safety issue last night happened or not,
mm,
or during last 24 hours.
mhm.
Yeah,
How
so
do they manage safety issues?
it depends on what kind of safety issue we had. So of course, as I was saying, that there are persons who are on night shift, there are persons who are on day shift. So all those night shift persons, they are also having some sort of responsibility, because they are covering, they are on duty when nobody else is around there.
Mm,
So so they address those safety issues, of course, by training and by giving them proper resources to handle kind of emergencies. They like, even when I used to be on night shift, I used to know ki I have to call this and this person if something happens wrong. I have
mm,
to inform these guys to send resources, to send the boats, or to send the tugs, or for firefighting or anything.
mm,
So for oil spill or anything happens, so I used to have different numbers and all. So all that comes with implementing procedures and implementing giving right training to right persons who are working under you or with you.
mhm. And who do they report this safety issue to?
Oh, okay. Of course, there are different levels of management. So
Mm,
if it is a very serious issue,
yeah.
it goes to a particular higher GM operations or something. If it is
Mm,
minor issue, they don't report it to anyone, but they
yeah.
take measures so that it doesn't happen next time. and they maintain a record of that. Uh, yes, so normally again when I was there, they were not using any specific softwares, but they were using Excel sheets and all to record each and everything.
Mm.
So it was a big spreadsheet where each day, each vessel, whatever went wrong, they used to record, and then to so as to address those issues, uh, they were talking to vessel managers to provide measures that such incident or such safety issue will not occur again. And of course, they were using same like berth planners, because berth planners are working under these terminal managers. So they
Mm.
were using our platform, RightShip platform, to report these issues and record them. Uh, but at the same time, there are issues uh, which they don't want to disclose because it is their own mistake which led to that issue. So those
Mm.
issues, they are never reported anywhere. It's just recorded internally for their reference only.
I see, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
So can I say that, in terms of tools, right? As mentioned, they could be using Excel, and they will be. Would they be using any digital tools? That
Yes,
would be
yes. So
yes,
with
yeah.
regards to digital tools, like I remember when I was still with them, but I had not completed that project. They were working on
Mm.
developing a software where they can record all these things, how much downtime they had for a particular vessel. A
Mm.
vessel said they cannot deblast, or vessel said they cannot load cargo for so and so reason. So they were developing tools at that time. They were developing this particular software where they can record each and every vessel with how much downtime, what was the issue, what was action taken, and
Mm.
then who was the vessel operator, all those things. And
Mm.
then they can, later on, if the same vessel is nominated to come back at the same terminal, they can go back and check if this how was the performance of this vessel.
I
Uh,
see. So it's
yeah.
more like internal tools you're saying that
Yes.
they
Correct.
are
Correct.
developing. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So in this instance, can I say that they are tech savvy?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Any idea, of any terminal manager in any uh, ports and terminals if they are using RightShip products?
Lots of them are using, lots of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So again, our feedback report feature is very famous. So
Mm,
lots of terminals are using that.
I see.
Plus, lots of terminals, they are using our database, our RightShip uh, uh, platform
Mm,
to check
mm,
vessel's performance history before they accept any vessel. Because once a vessel is nominated, it goes to terminal, and it is up to terminal manager to accept that vessel or not. He
mm,
can say no, I don't want this vessel.
I see.
Because a vessel with bad performance history, you never know, that vessel gets stuck at your terminal, and the AMSA or the port authorities, they say no, vessel, it is not safe for vessel to go out. Then they are stuck at the terminal, and then because they are at the terminal, the government authorities, they have said that it is not safe for vessel to go out until they take so and so measures. So all that time uh, is lost time. We cannot load the next vessel because now we are binded by the government not to move this vessel.
Mm,
So that is what happens in Australia quite frequently when AMSA, the government body, Australian Maritime Safety Authority, so they come and they say no, this vessel is not safe to go out. This vessel cannot go out until they do so and so. And sometimes to do that particular thing, they need some spare parts or they need some technician and all, and it is
mm,
not available immediately. Then the vessels, they cannot go out, and terminal manager, it's a big headache for terminal manager because his role is to make sure that vessel goes out safely so he can bring in the next vessel and start loading the next vessel.
mm-hmm,
So they are losing business there.
mm-hmm. And for the non-users of RightShip, right? What do you think will entice them to come on board with RightShip?
Again, same thing. I think our FBI product is very good. Our
Mm,
database is very good, so they can use all that information which we have to improve their terminal safety performance,
mm,
uh, to make their own. Like I was saying, that they don't report so many things. Maybe we can give them a feature whereby they can have some list or some database which only they can see, but within our database.
Mm. Okay.
Probably something with the pass protected, so they know that this thing is recorded, everything is recorded under RightShip platform. Um, yeah, so I think mostly it's vessels performance, feedback reports,
Mm.
vessels PSG history, all those things. They look into all these things very, very closely.
Mm.
And all those terminals which are not using, I think it is good to sell this product to them.
I see.
Yeah.
And the paymaster for this kind of adoption would be
Again, the big companies,
big
the
company.
the terminal operators, different companies like DP World and Hapag-Lloyd, Maersk, in Australia, BHP, FMG, all these companies. Yeah.
Mm. Any other feature that you think they'll be needful for them?
Sorry. Please
Hello.
say again.
Any other feature that you think that they may need
Um,
other than the ones you mentioned?
cannot recall of anything, but if something comes to my mind, I'll let you know. Nothing else for the
Okay.
moment. Yeah.
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 Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we have covered terminal manager. Let's move on to the last two. Um, the role of a harbor master. What would you think, in your understanding, what's the role of a harbor master?
Okay. Harbor Master again. Now it's a different perspective, but the position is going even higher now. Harbor Master is overall in charge of the complete harbor. So
Yeah.
within a harbor, we can have three different terminals or four different terminals. So we were talking about terminal manager who was in charge of just one terminal, but now harbor master is of the entire port, entire area, even the area where they are loading, where the ships are berthing, plus the area which is outside the port where the vessels are navigating, from where the vessels are coming inside and going out. All that area is harbor master responsibility. So all the marine pilots, all the terminal managers, but he can be a different company. It's not necessarily he's the same company as terminal manager. The harbor masters are normally government authorities. Normally,
Oh, okay. So it's not the responsibility that falls on an individual. It's more like harbor master is not a person.
harbor master
It's a person. Okay.
is a person, but he works for. Normally, they are working for. Normally, normally uh,
Mm.
now things are changing now.
Mm.
Privatization is happening, but normally these are government bodies which appoint a harbor master for that particular harbor. So that harbor can have different terminals, can have 10 terminals or 10 berths or
Mm.
15 berths. And then, but then that harbor master can be belonging to government or a different company. And these small operators are different companies altogether. So it is
Mm.
not that the terminal manager is responsible or reporting to harbor master. But if something happens, some incident happens, terminal manager still needs to report it to harbor master.
Mm.
Besides his own company, he also needs to report it to harbor master because he's the in charge of the complete harbor.
I
So
see.
he's in charge of pilots, tugs, small boats, anything which is happening in that port.
I see.
Yeah,
Well, it's a very big role.
it's a
So
very big role. Yes.
is usually is there only one harbor master or there's a
No,
few
no.
harbor
So yeah, so there
master?
is one harbor master always, but there
Mm.
can be few deputies. So there are, like in Port Hedland, it's a very big port. There is one harbor master, and there are four deputy harbor masters.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
deputy harbor masters are working under harbor masters,
Mm.
and then two of them may be involved directly with day-to-day activities. One is looking after daytime, one is looking after nighttime. All the
Yeah.
nighttime he need not be around. He can be in his home. It's only
Mm.
when some incident comes, then he's called upon. And two of them may be working on some projects and all that. Some incidents and closeout. Some new berth is coming up. Some new channel is being dredged.
Mm.
Some all those kind of things.
Okay, understood. And
Yeah.
who do they report to um, as a harbor
Uh,
master?
I
Is
think
is
I am
there
not
do
sure,
they
but I
report to
think
anyone?
it goes to some ministerial level or the
Mm.
the the CEO of that particular organization.
And what would be their routine like?
Routine is working on new projects because harbors they keep on evolving.
Mm,
Keep on evolving means with regards to uh, new projects always keeps coming. They want to deepen the harbor so that more vessels, the bigger vessels, can come in and deepen the channel. Make sure that the navigational aids, the buoys, the lighthouses, everything is working in order. So
mm-hmm,
it's a very, very big range of routine works which they are doing. Then meeting all the different port proponents, meeting different stakeholders in the port, uh, see what challenges they are facing. Uh, yeah, take suggestions, make improvements. It's a very big role. Yeah.
mm. Um, in because the yeah, the such a big responsibility. What do you think is their main priorities?
Again, I think he's responsible for safety of entire port. Anything
Mm,
happens, particularly any serious incident, is he's answerable. Of course, we all are answerable, even from smaller level, people are answerable, but he's the one to whom the higher
yeah.
authorities will be asking questions. So main priority will be safety of the harbor,
Mm,
all operations in the harbors going on safely,
mm,
and at the same time, the port productivity is not reduced. With regards to port productivity, I mean, let's say any incident happened and that particular ship cannot sail out. That means if that particular ship is impacted, then next ship cannot come in. So that
mm,
impacts the overall performance of the port.
mm-hmm,
So he doesn't want the overall performance of the port to be impacted.
mm. What sort of improvement would they be looking for, out for?
I think improvement in their routine challenges wherever the mistakes or wherever small incidents or near misses have taken place. They want to make sure that those doesn't happen. Uh, any loopholes which they have in their procedures, or uh, you know uh, they cannot bring in a particular vessel of particular size because of their limitations. The harbor itself is not deep enough for, so they want to improve all those things, make sure that operations are working operations are going on safely and productivity is not impacted. So again, routine things where they want to improve.
Mm. What sort of common challenges they will be facing?
Challenges can be again anything from which is not in their control, the natural conditions of the harbor, the wind, the weather, the vessels are colliding or vessels are having accidents in the harbor. So all those challenges they have to face, make sure it doesn't happen, communicate with them, uh, implement measures which are in their control to make sure that they can improve safety.
Mm,
So what are the challenges? Like Port Hedland, it was in a area where it was very common to have cyclones and all.
mhm,
So when cyclone or typhoon comes, the entire port is closed, and that 5 or 6 days or 4 days, whatever it is a challenging period. So those can be challenges. Vessels performance can be challenged. That is a big challenge. So even some of the ports like I'm talking about Port Hedland, they are one of the RightShip customers. They're using RightShip services to to record the vessels with the bad performance, to look at our database to see vessels performance. They can ban ships which are not performing good. uh, they have the power not to let them come in the port. They have the power to remove the ship from a port where they
mm,
feel it is not safe. And yeah, they use our services in that regards. Not only Port Hedland, there are a few other terminals and ports which are using our services.
mm. And how do they overcome these challenges? Is it by what you have just mentioned?
Now, again, they also have to liaise with challenges are mostly around either the within the port, which they had to address themselves, or around the ships. And all these ships, they are working, they are under different operators, so they have
Mm,
to liaise with the more than 100 operators to overcome these challenges, to see that those measures are implemented. So until those measures are not implemented, which they want, so that the particular incident doesn't happen again. They cannot allow the ship to come inside again.
Mm.
So they are working with different operators, and I think that's their routine job. So that is how they overcome all these challenges. Active discussions with terminals to see how they can improve if anything is on their part, or
Mm.
if something is to be done by ship operators, then they talk to ship operators to make those changes.
Mm. What would be their safety point of view?
Again, very high. I think that is again main thing is to that the whole port and terminals, all the terminals should complete harbor should be working very safely.
Mm.
So very high safety consciousness, and
How do they manage a safety issue?
by talking to managers or by talking to terminals or by talking to different providers, by passing on the information. Let's say a cyclone is coming, they have to be on top of all the forecasts and start evacuating the harbor. So they have to have beforehand information, all the resources available, and make sure the timely actions are taken before the disaster comes. Yeah. Of
Do,
course, what we know, they can take action like cyclones. They know that cyclone is going to approach or weather is going to become bad. But sudden events like machinery breakdown, ship collision or accident, that they cannot help. So they have to be ready for it. That's it.
mhm. And do they have to report this safety issue to anyone?
Serious, serious ones, yes. So there is a like again, different countries will be having different authorities,
Mm.
but here we have Australian Transport Safety Bureau, which is uh, which is looking after all the marine terminals, all the air terminals and trains and all. So they are the main authority, main government authority. So these harbor masters, they have to report all the marine related issues to this authority for for any accidents which happen in the harbor.
Right. What are the tools that they will be using currently? Any digital tools or
Yes, so they are
what kind?
using RightShip. They are using other
Oh,
platforms as well.
okay.
Yes, but not all. Again, not all. Some of the port authorities only are using. I believe
Mm.
again a good product to sell to our different ports, because their risk lies around again with the vessels. Any vessel's performance, vessel did something wrong which impacted the port. So that is a risk to them. So to check if the vessel is operating safely, how was the vessel's past history, how was the vessel's performance. Uh, so for that, quite a few terminals or ports are using our products,
Mm.
but not all.
Okay. And if they are not using RightShip, what do you think would be the the approach to get them on board?
Uh,
What would entice them?
I think we have a lot of products. Some of the terminals they are using even our vetting products, not only FBR but vetting also, to see if a particular vessel is suitable for that port. Like Port Headland is quite strict, very stringent safety measures and all. Uh, a few other ports in Australia. I'm not too sure about elsewhere. Uh, so our existing products, yes, I believe I was talking to someone from Singapore office. They're working around ports and terminal products where they're trying to develop something which can where they can bring some of the terminals on board with the providing them with quick vets or with the vessel's performance history. So yeah, I think we can have different options to serve these terminals, to bring them on board,
Mm.
uh, selling all this data which we have, and the data itself is very useful with regards to the vessel's performance and operators' performance.
Mm.
Yeah.
And who will be the paymaster?
Paymaster will be the body, the government or the company who is operating that port.
Mm.
Yeah. So kind of like PSA or kind of like PPAs. PPA is
Mm.
the authority here, Pilbara Port Authority. So kind of those bodies, the big bodies.
Mm.
Yeah.
Any other feature that they any any other feature that they will need?
Uh, I'm not too sure what new products are being developed, but I'm sure something is being worked around ports and terminals. Let's see how this product comes into. So yes, I think they'll be very much interested in these products, particularly where they can record all these events, and maybe they can communicate through the platform directly with the operators. So an integrated product whereby when the vessel is nominated, uh, it is nominated and all that information comes into the right shape. And let's say an incident happens. So instead of going through different email channels and all, they just come into our platform and raise an issue which goes directly to the vessel operator, you know.
Mm,
So everything stays in the platform. Plus, at the same time, they can communicate directly with the vessel operators.
mm,
Uh, because I believe we are the biggest database holder about marine industry, about all these different ships and everything.
mm,
So, and I think we have capability of maintaining different lists, different items in our platform. So it can be used. They can try to filter a particular operator. Let's say a particular port is getting 100 ships a month from 20 different operators. So they can go and select this particular operator had maximum number of incidents,
mm,
and all those kind of products we can look into.
mhm. Okay, that's great. Let's move on to the last row,
Yeah.
which is the Port Authority.
Port
What do you
Authority, I
think
would say,
would be
is
the
very
role of
similar.
Port Authority?
I would say it's very similar to Hub Master. Hub Master is just the manager of Port Authority.
Mm,
So Port Authority itself is a body. Actually, it's kind of a body.
yeah.
Yeah. So so like I was giving you example of Port Headland. Under a port authority, there is a harbor master under whom there are three different deputy harbor masters. Then there are port schedulers, there are pilots, there are tug workers, all that. So all that is part of port authority. So port
Mm,
authority is a it's not a person. Port authority is a body which is
yes.
working towards that improvement or operations of that particular port, whereby different persons, IT is involved, human resources involved, engineering is involved, harbor masters, of course, marine department, marine people are involved, helicopter pilots, because marine pilots are sometimes going on board by helicopters, they are involved, boat operators, small boat operators are involved, uh, dredging companies, the ones who dig the harbor to make it deep, uh, dig the sea bottom. So all those are they are all part of port authority, different people, different departments.
Mm. And who do they report to as a
Port
entity?
authority, probably they will be reporting to some central government ministry under who's the port under who the ministry of ports and terminals, or ministry of ports and waterways, or they're definitely reporting to somebody in a ministerial position in the government.
I see.
Yeah.
And what would be their daily routine like?
Mm, to make sure that all the port operations are going smoothly, improvements are taking, they are expanding, they are uh, bringing the business, they are building the port, and they're bringing some revenue to the government. So, like Port of Port Headland is one port under Pilbara Port Authority. So, Pilbara Port Authority is operating 5 or 6 different ports, like Port of Dampier, Port of Ashburton, Port of Port Headland, Port of Exmouth. So, all these ports are part of Pilbara Port Authority.
Mm-hmm.
So, they are bringing a lot of revenue. So, I think that is their main concern. Their main routine operations is working around operating all these ports safely on a very, very, very high level. When you have a bird eye view, they want to just make sure that everything is going on smoothly with all these different ports.
I see. So that would be their main priorities. Would that be the
Not
main?
only not safely, not safety plus income generation. I think
Mm,
main purpose is income generation for all these authorities, the bigger authorities. It's end of
mm,
the day, it's all business.
okay. And what sort of improvement they will be looking for?
Again, because it is at such a large level, it can be very different kind of improvements.
Mm,
It can be engineering improvements in their machineries, in their infrastructure, in their buildings, in the ports which they have built, the facilities inside the ports which they have built. So it can be very, very, wide area where improvements can take place. Uh, Myself, I am concerned only with the marine side, that small area of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Any common challenges that like port authority would face?
Common challenges at such a high level, normally, they are normally handled at lower levels. But again, working around different operators, getting approvals, government approvals, making improvements, liaising with different people, sometimes acquiring lands and all. So I'm talking from their perspective.
Mm,
Yeah, what my understanding is.
okay.
As I said, like from a marine point of view, it's very different. But when we are talking about Port Authority is a big authority which is covering lots of different things: lands, buildings, machineries, so many things.
Okay. And how do they overcome? Um, Sorry, did I ask the question on common challenges that they will be facing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. How do they overcome them?
I think again by putting in the right resources, by putting in
Mm,
because it is at such a high level, they have direct approach with the government. They have people involved from the government. They have different bodies and different parties involved in a lot of stakeholders.
mm,
So a lot of terminals, like the terminals itself, they are very big. BHP, FMG, Rio Tinto, they are quite big players. So they get involved with these people. They want to bring in, pool in some money, make this improvement, do this, do that. So that is how they get involved. They try to fast track approvals from the government, and yeah, I think they don't. Normally, they should not have issues, with overcoming these challenges. It's only the time which is required to complete those challenges. But yes, they are at that level that they can take decisions by themselves and with the help of government.
mm. Then what would be their safety point of view?
Probably same like harbor master or terminal manager or anything. Yeah. Uh, at such high level, I think main priorities will be safety plus income generation plus revenues and all. Uh, Small minor incidents, they don't even go up to them. It's only until a fatality or something happens, like when COVID was at its peak, and uh, some vessels were calling all these ports with positive cases of COVID. That is when people from port authorities, people from government, they were getting involved and seeing how to address those issues.
Mm.
Yeah.
And how do they manage them?
uh, by utilizing the resources they have available or they can make available, uh, depending on type of problem. So they have, because it is at such a high level, they want to get help from health department, or they want to get help from, let's say, for example, any from meteorological department, if they have some weather concerns, or some from some surveying company where they are trying to make some new berth or some channels, and they have impact of water and currents and all. So, of course, active discussions with different parties, different stakeholders at higher level of management, at higher government levels, and that is how they overcome these challenges.
Mm. And who do they report to? Like
I
safety issue.
uh, I think probably they are just maintaining a database, as I was talking about some government agency which is
Mm,
maintaining all these safety accidents and all. So
I see.
in our case, this is ATSB, Australian Transport Safety Bureau.
Mm,
Different countries, they have different organizations.
mhm. And
Yeah,
what sort of tools they are currently using? Um,
I think of course, I have no idea. I've never worked in a port authority, but I think they have all up to date latest softwares which they need to run their financial softwares, HR softwares,
mhm,
personal people management softwares, their marine planning softwares, everything, you name
mm.
it. Yeah.
So can I say that they are tech savvy?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Based on your understanding, is there any port authority that are currently using RightShip?
Pilbara Port Authority is using RightShip, but they are
Mm,
mostly using it for Port Headland. But
mm,
I believe they are expanding now. As I said, they are expanding their operations to different ports. which will be part of Bill Prep Authority. So they can probably start looking at using our products not only for Port Hedland but for different for the other ports as well.
Mm-hmm. And if they are not using RightShip, what do you think will entice them to come on board?
I think again it is because it's at such a high level, so probably somebody from RightShip senior management can show them what work we are doing towards marine industry, uh, what is our goal of zero maritime harm and all that.
Mm.
So plus our now new environment products and all. So definitely all those things. Even these ports they have now everybody's under that pressure of reducing carbon
Yeah.
emissions, carbon
Yes.
footprint, and also so
Mm.
all these products are really, I think they are really good products, impressive products. So yes, I think we have some products which are already
Mm.
quite famous and they can be used well with these ports as well.
Mm-hmm. And who will be the paymaster?
They themselves are corporate bodies, so they have a lot of revenues, and
Mm.
they will be the paymasters themselves. The authority
Mm.
will be paymaster themselves.
And any other feature that you think that they will need other than what we are already having that
Uh,
we can build for?
I cannot think of anything. I think we already have
Mm.
environmental products. We already have that safety performance and
Mm.
all that. So yeah, our existing products are quite good for them.
Mm. Okay, that's great. Uh, I think we have come to the end of this session.
No problem,
Thank
sir.
you for giving me all this feedback and the understanding of all these 6 rows. Yeah,
Now
thank
that's
you
all
so
good.
much. Yeah,
Yeah, feel free
because
to reach out if you
actually
need any
I
further
just
information.
I'm very new to RightShip, so all this information is very valuable to me that you have
Okay.
given. Yeah, it's
I
really
think
very helpful.
initially we were trying to do it combined with David and myself because David is quite senior and he's having lots of good
Oh,
information.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Nah,
but
that's okay,
because
all good.
for research purposes, in regards to UX, most of the time we prefer to had it individually, so
Okay,
that
all right.
we can collect the research based on your understanding
Okay. Nah,
and
that's
make
okay.
comparison and all that. So
Because sometimes I even learn, not sometimes, most of the times I learn from him or pick up new points from him. So he's
oh, I
quite good.
see.
Yeah,
Mm,
that's why. So in my routine job, I always,
mm,
ask him if I don't know anything. So
yeah.
he's quite
Uh,
good.
but I do hope we can invite you and David back for any workshop purposes so that we can run it as a group.
Yeah, no issues. So please, as I said, sometimes things happen which are not in our control. So let me know.
Yeah,
Please try to give me sufficient time.
definitely.
Normally, normally, mornings are busy.
Mm,
Mornings are usually less busy, but afternoons are very busy.
okay.
So we prefer to do it afternoon.
Okay.
Mondays are very busy because all the work piled up from Saturday and Sundays on
I
Monday.
see.
But today because last 2 times we had to cancel, so I said, nah, today Monday we will
Oh,
do
thank you
it.
so much.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no issues. But
Yeah.
try to do it in a weekday and preferably afternoon if that works for
Mm,
you.
okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I'll note it down.
Sorry,
Uh,
preferably in the morning if that works for you.
okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for your time, Ankur, and
No
I hope
problem,
you
sir.
take care and have a good week ahead.
Yeah, you too. You too. Take care. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. Bye. See you.